Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. Dogboat333, and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4. The New Order, Last Days of Europe. Now, last time we joined each other in TNO was with the jolly old English in the new Great Britain focus tree and content, which has been fun. Still is fun. I'm still kind of recording that right now. This is going to be uploaded much later once I've got this more recorded. Probably when the Britain stuff is recorded as well. But, I know I'm behind on a lot of new content. So, I wanted to make sure to give some love to the other major update. Because Britain was not the only nation to go ahead and get content. We have the Ukrainians, who have missed out on quite a bit of content, or at least appreciation from me, rather. And I think it's only fair that we go ahead and give Ukraine a little bit of love, and finally check out its new content. Because Ostland may strut itself as the crown jewel, Muscovian as a problem child, and Poland is the Reich's laboratory. But it is Ukraine that keeps Germany alive. Without its vital source of wheat and grain to the 100 million souls inside the empire, all the blood spilled during the Second World War would be for naught. Crimea, occupying the vital position as protector of the Black Sea, has been formally incorporated into the Reich, with the rest of the region under an occupation government simply known as Reichskommissariat Ukraine. How do you say Ukraine in German? Is it just Ukraine, or do you say it with an accent? Anyway. Ruled under an iron fist by its Reichskommissar, Erich Koch, anyone suspected of even holding sympathies with the kaleidoscope of partisan movements that haunt the Germans is dealt with in the only way Koch knows how: a bullet. Yet even in the darkness, something lurks. In the heart of every Ukrainian and every German, the wind has shifted. Hell will descend over the wheat fields of Ukraine. Whoever survives wins. Very ominous. I like it already.
Germany calling. It seems that the famous British resolve.
Let's go ahead and get this loaded in. Here we go. I'm recording this live on Twitch, by the way. I started that with the Britain LP, but I ended up moving that offline because I didn't have time to stream. I'm going to keep this on the Twitch, I think, full time. So, if you're watching this, odds are I might still be recording this, so if you want to check out the Twitch and say hello and join me and Philip over here, because Philip's the only one in chat right now, which we love him for. You got that option, or if you just want, even if this is recorded already, but you want to keep up to date and see me do these sort of LPs live, you know, you can check out the Twitch anyway. I also do some face cam content on there, which usually doesn't. I usually just record this live on Shadowplay or whatever it's named nowadays, and then record that to upload that to YouTube. So if you want to see my face, you know, you have that option. Or if you don't, if you want to stay far the fuck away from it, you can just stick with YouTube. I won't cry either way. You know, I do not mind. I'm a lonely boy. Aren't we all, Philip? Aren't we all? You're in class right now. I don't know about college, but you're in a class right now. You got shit you could do. I like the music. Feed Europe. The breadbasket of Europe. Ukraine's history is best condensed in what the word Ukraine literally means. From the Slavic language, it means borderland. Caught between the forces of Berlin in the west or Moscow in the east, there has scarcely been a moment of calm in Ukraine's storied history. Once but a slice of the vast Russian Empire, Ukraine first gained independence in the chaos of the Russian Revolution before losing it to Moscow's vengeful return, and now finds itself a slave to Germania. Ukraine lies conquered at the mercy of another empire's hand, subject to its cruelty and decree. Yet the cycle has begun to churn out another vain imitation of the Ukrainian history, put on to show for the 1000th time as a ruler's crown starts to slip. Every twisted dream of Ukrainian nationhood now vies with one another for the nation's soul, be it east or west, collaboration or independence, fascism or freedom. Every hope and prayer for Ukraine has come to seize destiny, or die trying. Ukrainian dreams have a habit of stillbirth. Starting with the Cossack hetmanate, Ukrainian nationhood can only flare up for fleeting moments. In 1917, with Moscow in turmoil, the Ukrainian Rada tried their hand. This dream, too, died young with the remnants of Ukrainian democracy fleeing from advancing Soviets to Poland. The Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists soon began resistance across western Ukraine and in Polish Galicia, and fought with the Nazis against their hated enemy. But with the end of the U-SSR's dream, the OUN soon floundered with those opposing collaborations breaking away under Stepan Bandera. Meanwhile, another movement arose in western Ukraine and Galicia, fighting for a democratic dream. But none of these visions would survive, nor would almost any leader of Ukrainian resistance movements, including Bandera. Even Germany's vision would die as Erich Koch's colony slowly lost its position as the breadbasket of Europe at the hands of countless terrorist freedom fighters. Now we're frozen in time. The Reich Commissariat was designed with the goal of subjugation. Its planners believed that someday Ukraine would submit to Germany and meekly accept its cultural and demographic decline. Instead, the situation on the ground has barely progressed, even after almost 2 decades spent attempting to move the dial. The Ukrainian people have proven effective at maintaining their armies, and with violence already at the core of their colonial policy, the Germans have no other answers. The UNRA still fights for a republic, one now slipping into history. The UPA still fights for a man who died in prison a decade earlier, their nationalistic dreams more fanatical than ever. The partisans battle for a union which is long since shattered. Even the Reich Commissariat battles for eventual Germanization, a dream that has endlessly delayed as the situation on the ground failed to change. The world has moved on from Second World War, but Ukraine remains here, fighting with no way out. Yes, Bandera, famous freedom fighter. Yeah, you're picking up. Reformers of the Rot. The reality is that this system is utterly broken in its current form, and that reality is clear even to the oppressors who run it. Ukrainian colonialism has meant great expense and greater death. If it is to continue to provide what the Nazi machine requires of it, it will need reforms. What those reforms will look like is still a matter of great debate. Ohlendorf, an SS leader and thinker, looks to the free market and pragmatic government action to rejuvenate the colonial system and wipe out resistance. Liebrandt, a disciple of Rosenberg, sees a limited devolution to the natives as reform for the Reich Commissariat was always designed for. Brautigam, a rising star in the diplomatic corps, imagines an even more radical reform that sees Ukraine as a true equal with fair government. For now, the Reich Commissariat's reformers are forever blocked by Koch. Yet he is an ancient man now. If the Reich Commissariat survives, it will likely be without him. The dreams of the Soviets still alive, with the Dud Revolution. With the present grim and the future bleak, most Ukrainians have little to rally behind but the past. No group exemplifies this more than the U-SSR, group of leftists under Alexander Shumsky, who wish desperately for a return to the glory days of the Ukrainian Soviet. Old soldiers and young dreamers all flock to the antique Red Banner. They are tenacious and driven in this goal, but also incredibly ideologically diverse. Shumskyists, Trotskyites, Bukharinists, and more fight along one another as begrudging comrades, a strained yet resolute adhesive of a common goal holds them together, just barely maintained by Shumsky himself. Were their movement to lose him, there is no guarantee the SSR would stay together, and their dream would never be realized. We also have the heirs of 1917. The history of the Ukrainian National Revolutionary Army has seen it collect traditions stretching across a century of Ukrainian history, from its first rumblings of independence to the present day. Perhaps their movement is best summarized in a common slogan. It is 1917, once more. That year, a Ukrainian republic was first created, though would be destroyed by the Bolsheviks. The republic would nevertheless come to define the UNRA, most clearly its liberalism and republicanism. When Taras Bulba Borovets formed his own army, he took these ideals and that year of revolution in his heart. Now in 1962, it survives with new leadership. A new generation sees the UNRA as a movement looking forward even as it looks back. Their nationalist, even leftist beliefs have become increasingly the norm, even if a black heart of collaborationism and UPA connections lurk within the movement. And finally, in Bandera's footsteps. Once the UPA would have been defined by Stepan Bandera's words. Like most of the Ukrainian nationalist movement, he began resisting the Poles before collaborating with the Nazis. Yet only Bandera, with his uniquely radical position and surprising popularity, managed to break free from Germany and rise against their former masters. Now the UPA is defined by Bandera's death. Hiding and killed in concentration camp, his movement outlived him, finding new leadership under Dmytro Kliatchkievsky. His movement lurks in the West, engaged in an endless war for UNRA and the German occupiers. Now the UPA survives strong, but the leadership is split over the future of Bandera's vision. Some seek the nostalgia of past orthodoxy, while others audaciously seek to reforge the UPA for their own ends. The Banderites walk a dangerous and uncertain path, just as likely to be their doom as their salvation. Well, forwards. Real Peronism. Yeah, honestly. Alright, so let's take a look at our starting situation. We have a little thing called the breadbasket of the Reich. Interesting. 42 grain is demanded this cycle. Stock grade by the end of this consumption cycle are as followed. Shipping grain to German masters are our number one priority. The Ukrainian people will receive the remainders. Yikes. Interesting, okay. Development levels used as a measurement of how developed a region is as a whole on a scale of 1 to 10. An increase of this value will be recorded when a region's development progress reaches 100. Yeah, alright. So, yeah, we hardly have anything development-wise. Although, we're doing okay in Kiev and Zhytomyr. Also have some resistance going on. Interesting. So we have all these guys, which we'll have to check out later, I'm thinking. We got resistance and we got development. First, we got to figure out who we're dealing with. So, we're an autonomous Reich Commissariat. We're in the Einheitspact. We're led by Erich Koch, Ukraine's gravedigger. God, that all just sucks. This is what Erich Koch has been left with. This is what he deserves. At the peak of authority, Erich Koch was a thug upon a throne, brutal even by the standards of the Third Reich. His colonial policy was an endless cycle of exploitation and repression, designed to beat the Ukrainian people into submission. Under his watch, the Hunger Plan left the native population starving in fields of amber, and his quotas reduced them to slavery. In his mind, he had forged the very picture of Lebensraum, a blood diamond in Hitler's crown. My, he looks miserable good, true. It could not last, of course. In the wake of the West Russian War, the Reich Commissariat was left with far more problems than Koch could comprehend. Above him, an army of administrators demanded more and more, hoping to prop up the Reich's ailing economy with a further blood from its breadbasket. Below him, a crowd of natives screamed, demanding freedom from the abyss he had created. For the first time, Eric Koch was faced with problems, which could not be solved with whips and hammers. The Reichskommissariat was finally lost. Rather than attempting major changes, the Reichskommissar has left the colony stagnant beneath him. Even as terror rises and profits slow. Deep down, Eric Koch may be aware of some solution, but the man lacks the energy to change Ukraine's fate. In the name of profit, the Reichskommissar ground his colony to sand. Now, he watches it blow away. So, we got a couple guys over here. I thought this was the composer for a second. Obviously not. Well, maybe not. I don't know. We're led by Georg Liebrand, the Eastern Ministry's exile, the deputy to the Reichskommissar for the Ukraine head of Main Department of Administration, who's a Rosenbergian tendency. Georg Liebrand is Ukraine's student and its teacher, a man who studied the nation for half a century and has returned with a clarity few feel in its darkest hour. As notes, his dream is laid bare, a Reichskommissariat which is guided by scientific rigor over militaristic brutishness, where the foolish hunger plan is finally laid to rest. For now, however, it's a mere paper, while Ukraine burns around him. The Deputy Reichskommissar is not a powerless man, but his reforms require an authority beyond his means. He may be savior to collaborators and exiled bureaucrats, but the Wehrmacht and SS, he's a weak civilian, and to the hardliners, he's a laughingstock. For now, Liebrand and his followers can only quietly work, while Ukraine crashes to cushion the landing, or reap from the chaos that follows. Next, we have Hans Otto Brautigam, the voice of conscience. Hans Otto Brautigam is a young man with big dreams and a lot to prove. Despite receiving his position after just a bit of nepotism from his uncle, Hans Otto has not become complacent like other young men given cushy jobs by their family and the elite. Behind a facade of adhering to National Socialist ideology, Brautigam brings dreams of a new, free Germany in a new, free Europe. He wonders if his dream, moving on from National Socialist tyranny and building a future freedom, is even possible. He wonders if it is even possible to make things right. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But that won't stop Brautigam from trying to do the right thing and make Ukraine a better place, even if he has to sacrifice his greater ambitions. Based? Holy shit. Richard Wagner, the colonial exploiter, the head of Main Department of Food and Agriculture. In 1944, Richard Wagner, an agrarian administrator in occupied Belgium, was fired by the military on grounds of sexual harassment. Uh-oh. It should have destroyed his career, but Wagner was an SS man. His organization found him new work, and by 1950, that scandal was largely a footnote. The ordeal taught him a crucial fact. The party has the answer, and there's no use in whining. Therefore, even as Wagner has racked up promotions and accomplishments, he's never deeply involved himself in party disputes. His main option remains firmly rooted in the agrarian sector, which he operates in Ukraine. It was him who has largely completed collectivization against Dare's wishes. As for the rest, so long as Germanization continues, Wagner is more than happy remaining on the shadows. Go figure. I don't think I can repeat that, but go figure. And then we have Otto Ohlendorf, the self-righteous Prussian, the supreme SS and police leader in the Reichskommissariat Ukraine. Sounds like a Nazi North Korea title if you ask me, but whatever. If you wish to understand Ohlendorf, one must know just how much he is willing to do to see his project implemented. All party functionaries learn quickly to internalize an acceptance of violence, but Ohlendorf executed that violence. In his time heading the Einsatzgruppe D, he saw some 100,000 subhumans shot and shoved into unmarked graves. He has seen the calculus of Nazi bureaucracy made real, and he did not blink. This is not the goal of his career. His dream work would be heading an economic ministry in Germania. Yet despite his obvious credentials, time and time again, his brutal honesty and stubborn attitude have gotten him branded unhelpful and sent to the East. Perhaps he was always too honest, too comfortable with presenting the realities of National Socialism to make headway in Germania. But those realities don't truly give him pause. They only give him a chance to make things more efficient, more streamlined. And here in Ukraine, he may find an opportunity to make those changes. He keeps it too real. You know, the woke Nazi establishment just can't handle his truth bombs, his facts and logic, or something, I don't know. So, here's our poverty is not good, and it's only getting worse. We have some assorted laws, which we'll check out real quick. Don't let Berlin cancel you. Exactly. Wait, Philip, did you just dead name Berlin? Did you dead name Germania? What the fuck, bro? That's not canceled. So, let's check out these sort of laws real quick. Why not? The third phase of Generalplan Ost, which exists to prepare for an eventual German domination of all of Eastern Europe through an ethnic cleansing. The third phase, beginning in the mid-50s, is focused less on utilizing mass murder to create this demographic shift, instead using contraception and poor health through limited care to induce a decline in Eastern Europeans. It is also granted increased latitude to local Reich Commissars who have taken the policy in varying directions. Unsurprisingly, Koch has been a hardline on this topic. A dead name Twitter too. I'm too base for Elon Fair. I don't know anyone who actually calls it X, really. Like some news people to be kind of strict and professional, really, but that's really about it. Powerless Ukrainian National Committee, led by Andrei Melnik, the UNC is a sole representative of collaborators, founded by Georg Liebrant in order to finance and operate the anti-partisan Ukrainian National Army. Since the time, the UNC has fallen into relevance, with Reich Kommissar Koch refusing to allow any degree of importance. Even with his role as deputy, Liebrant has been unable to change the situation for his army. Next, we have the Bandenbekämpfung. The German garrison is currently empowered to take extreme action against so-called bandits, essentially meaning any partisan forces. This includes not only free reign to kill any suspects without process, but also freedom to pillage and destroy villages and partisan-controlled territories needed. At present, there are functionally no limits to garrison actions in the field, so long as it is done under these pretenses. Next up, we have national symbols forbidden. The RK Ukraine, despite the name, is not a Ukrainian institution. As such, statements of Ukrainian nationalism are forbidden, and this suppression extends even into the visual. Symbols of Ukraine are forbidden in public. Even collaborators are limited to design symbols for the UNA and UNC. Most towns have been redecorated to be German, removing symbols of Ukraine and adding Nazi iconography. Finally, we have a land management company, Ukraine. Though much land has been sold off to important connected German industrials, a great wealth of Ukrainian territory is still held by the Eastern Ministry, or the Ostministerium, with their proxy in land management company Ukraine. The Reich Commissariat holds much of the former Soviet state farms and agricultural machinery, repurposing them to aid the German economy. This gives the RK great latitude with which to shape the economic policy. And our ideology is National Socialism. We can read that later. It's straightforward. You all basically know what it is. Alright, let's get some research figured out. Let's work on hospital construction. Let's work on some industry stuff. And how are we doing tech-wise? We're almost caught up. Let's go to transistor computing. That music is surprisingly kick-ass right now. Let's get some generals going. We'll get Paul Reichelt. We'll get Albrecht Metz von Kirchheim. And we'll go ahead and get Alexander Conradi. Ideology is National Socialism. Yeah, that's basically all we get now. We got these guys. Not much we can do there. We're just about maxed out. Well, we got time to read one focus. We're not even going to start. We're barely going to start it. We're not even going to start the timer, but we got time to go and start reading. So, well, let's begin. The Herzog's Rage. Reich Commissar Koch is an exceptionally busy man with political duties in the Reich proper, and therefore cannot reasonably be expected to spend considerable time in Ukraine. This has been true since before the Russian War, yet the multitude of problems affecting the state cannot be denied, and so his preference is required for stabilization purposes, despite his desire to be less involved and his clear anger at being forced to attend our administration. He is here. As such, just like in years prior, we can expect problems to be decisively addressed. Of course. No problems here. We don't have any events, we don't have any decisions. We got this cool little GUI, that's about it. And we also got 10 things here. So thank you all for... Oh shit, this is connected to the GUI. That's fucking cool. What? Oh, this is sick. Aw, man. We also have some city stuff, which we'll have to read eventually, but that eventually is not yet, so gonna leave it there. Anyway, thank you as always for watching, my friends. If you like this video, leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you have any comments or feedback, leave it all in the comment section below. I read all the comments you get, and I appreciate any and all feedback you might have for me. If you want to keep updated with the uploads, hit the sub button and the notification bell if you really want to keep up to date with uploads. Check out my various links down in the description box below, including the Twitch where this was filmed on live. You can also check out the Discord to join up with the community. Also have a Patreon and a second YouTube channel if you want to check those out. And yeah, that's about it for now, my friends. I thank you all for watching. My name has been Mr. Dogboat333, and I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.